You think, all right, fine. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to, yammering on for like 5 minutes and getting nothing done. It's a Monday, so we're going to go here. Yeah, okay, John's an idiot. All right, so here's what happened. Traditionally, I leave the mics open. I leave them open. And apparently, when you log out and log back in, you're muted. So basically, that 5-minute monologue about everything was my fault, not technology. But what I was trying to do off the beginning was this. I was trying to make sure that the third piece of social media that we traditionally are on was getting our feed and pushing it out and letting everybody know where it is. So that was my first problem, trying to fix that issue. It's a Monday. Okay, fine, great. All right, so now we're back on all of the social media, and I might have to do it on a daily basis. If it doesn't catch, then I'll do it that way. So I was trying to do that, and I thought that I was doing it on an open microphone because, hey, everything's up and you're running and you're great, and yeah, I see video and all this kind of stuff. But unfortunately, this is a Monday, and it's John and technology. So anyway. So I fixed, at least for today, and it might be something that I have to do on every day, a social media routing issue. And so I was thinking that while I was routing to the social media that it traditionally isn't registering to, that I could talk to you because traditionally, hey, thing comes up, open goes, microphone's up and running. Not so fast. So anyway, now that I've done that, we're going to redo opening kickoff here real quick. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee, blackpitchcoffee.com. Start your day with the most important stories in the game, the right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend, made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala, heavy-bodied, notes of walnut and semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. So what I was trying to say was that traditional Mondays are going to be like this. Reaction Mondays are going to have Abe and Maddie in hour number 1. We got Maddie on the hop this morning because she's outside of her office. We're going to go to Abe here in a second. Hour number 2 is going to be traditionally Bart Keeler. We're going to go over Yanks Abroad. We're going to go over cards and calls. And if there's anything, and since there is a new SoccerForUSPod, that's what we'll get into as well. So that's traditional Mondays. Now that we're in season, that's where we're going. All right, that's opening kickoff, and that means one thing. That means that Abe Gordon is here, and he's going to let me actually find out about technology that functions. How you doing, partner?
I'm doing pretty good. How we doing this Monday morning?
Well, other than the fact that I was muted in my opening monologue because I thought that it was a default setting and it wasn't defaulted. So we had that going for us, which was nice.
It was the best one of your life, too.
That's what I thought.
Too bad.
Yeah, so that's the way it always works. But anyway, I was explaining to everybody that this is going to be traditional Monday, where it is going to be you and Maddie in hour number 1, breaking down Atlanta United, and then in hour number 2, Bart's going to join us talking soccer, Yanks Abroad, USMNT, cards and calls, all the things. So this is our standard construct. So Maddie can only join us because she's outside of her office. So she's kind of abbreviated today. But hour 1, you and Maddie. So now that this is our first official Reaction Monday of 2026, I feel like Lee Hacksaw Hamilton all of a sudden. Reaction! I want to hear from you, Rancho Cucamonga. All right, so first Reaction Monday. And look at you styling and profiling with the racing outfit. So Reaction Monday, react for me. What's on your mind?
Okay. We can go big picture first. We'll get into the specifics of the game here in a second. The big picture, I think, was, and Maddie and I really stressed this in the post game, that this team was always, and is going to be a work in progress. And I think you certainly saw that on Saturday afternoon heading into the evening. I think there was certainly some things that you liked. There's some things certainly that you didn't like. But the most important thing is, do you have something you can build with, build upon, and go from there? And I think, Maddie talked about it. You set a baseline to compete here in this game, and I think you did that. And there were a couple of moments in a smidge here, an inch there, and this is a different game. Obviously, if Saba bends that ball a little bit differently, he had some more room towards the post. Maybe that gets past Celentano and you lead. If Latte Loth is just a smidge closer to being on sides, maybe you catch a review, you catch a penalty, and after they had gone up 1-0, you equalize, and it's a totally different game there in the last 10, 12 minutes. And so you're right there against a pretty good team, but certainly there were the moments of concern. Obviously, the first goal, how you react after the turnover was a little bit of a problem, maybe some hesitation of delay, and the break is on. And I mentioned this last year with you, John, a lot. I want to be able to compliment the opposing team. That was a goal that was worthy of beating you. Now, you can say you needed to take the professional foul to stop that first ball from Giddy to Ekenike, right? I understand all that, but if you're going to get beat by a counterattack, let it be one that's strung together that nicely, as opposed to you just turning the ball over to someone in your own attacking third and they just go score a one-on. At least they had to work. They had to string their passes together, and so you do credit them for their counter, which, of course, they are one of the more dangerous teams at doing. Some of the game-specific things you saw. Really nice 20 to 25-minute stretch at the start. Two things happened. Cincinnati, who's getting their first look at you under Tata with the new personnel, they make their adjustments. There was no adjustment back to an extent. And honestly, and maybe this is just an adrenaline dump, it just went away from you. The whole game was gone from you after 25 minutes. You were very good. You were on the front foot. You were dominant in those 25 minutes. Unfortunately, held scoreless in that stretch. But for the last 15 or 20 of the first half and pretty much the entirety of the second half until it was 2-0 and a little too late at the last 6 minutes, you looked pretty good, but not much to be said there. They had control. They were moving forward. They were in your box, in your area. And so a couple of things could have happened, right? Cincinnati maybe adjusted and you didn't have an answer for that. That could be part of it. I like to think it's more just a bad pacing. And when I say adrenaline dump, it's you feel good at the start and you use up all this energy. And as the adrenaline wears down and we're no longer right near the start of kickoff of the opening match, 20, 25 minutes in, it kind of hits you and you just don't have it anymore. And look, this is where you look at the preseason. They can talk about sprints all they want, right? But practice sprints and in-game sprints are going to hit you differently. They're going to affect your heart rate differently. And this is partially where having that last preseason game canceled due to rain maybe affected you. And this is something they can learn. This is something that their bodies will adjust to. But it looked like they gave everything they had for 25 minutes, and then there was nothing left to get them into halftime and then coming out of halftime. Your pacing, your familiarity with the game moments and feeling it, the adrenaline that you have in game versus in practice and how it impacts you differently, that is something you can grow into. And so when Maddie and I said this is a work in progress, this was your baseline. All right, you made it 25 minutes playing the style that you wanted to play. What's your next step? Getting to halftime playing that style, coming out of halftime and playing the next 15 minutes in that way. And so it's going to be steps. We always knew that. But I do think you credit a couple of names out there, right? I thought if we had named a first half man of the match, it's Elias Baez. He was outstanding defensively in his first start after, a week? Yeah. Training with these guys. He was outstanding. I thought Thomas Jacob was really strong as one of those defensive midfielders. And, we got to credit it. He may not get the start next week, depending on what Tata wants to do tactically. Cooper Sanchez was really good as well. I do think there's a discussion. Do you bring Saba out and put Moranchuk up higher on the left, or however they want to reshape it, or are you just doing a midfield for midfielder swap with Alexi if he's ready to go for Cooper? But it would not be a criticism of Cooper. You have to get Alexi in there. I think we know that. The biggest criticism I had, which is really unfortunate, is Latte Loth just still looks disconnected from the other 9 field players, 10 overall. Way too many offsides, and partially you like seeing it be offsides because there's some danger there, and you're playing those margins. But some of them were just blatant and not working hard enough, and lack of communication. And I want to give him a grace period to get Moranchuk back in there and see if maybe that kind of helps him out a little bit more if they can get on the same page. But look, a year after the games that he was able to play, which was its own discussion in terms of health, the criticism for me was he just looks disconnected, disjointed. He doesn't look in line with the rest of the attack. I felt a little bit too much of that on Saturday. And maybe it's the comment that we want to play vertical and he's just waiting for a ball in. And you only had 1 or 2 of those. And he's not getting involved enough outside of that sort of attack. But that was really frustrating because I think you have high hopes for Latte Loth. I don't think this team is going to work the way it needs to work for Tata if he's not involved, if he's not connected, if he's not scoring goals. I mean, this is a guy that needs minimum 10 goals this season for the attack to be what it needs to be. And you just didn't see that from him on Saturday. But again, it's a work in progress. It's one game, so we're not going to overreact negatively. We're not going to overreact positively. Definitely did like a couple of things that I saw. It was always a tough ask to go on the road to Cincinnati. And you played them square for 80 minutes of this game. And credit to them, they jumped on the best opportunity that they had. But you've set a baseline now, and now you need to continue working and growing from there.
All right. And so Maddie has heard the opening salvo from Abe Gordon and your thoughts now that Maddie's version is up at soccerdownhere.net. And so is there a coda attached to Maddie's version? Is there a different version that might be acoustic or a heavy metal or an 80s version to Maddie's version that we talk about here this morning?
I feel like the version would be a reprise, not? It'd be a reprise.
Yeah.
That's the case. If we're going by actual music. You're pulling me back to my theater. It's making me pull from that bucket.
Yes.
I think even just from looking at everything, I'll admit what I said on the post game, and a lot of what I said, I think in Maddie's version too is kind of similar. I think it's a work in progress. I think there were things that I liked about the game and what I saw from players, from what I saw defensively. I think that there need to improve as well. And I think I said it to Abe, and I think it's the same thing too, where it's, I think you want to see the team take another step forward every single game. We want to leave every game thinking, okay, yes, this team is improving, this team more accustomed to each other, things. I would say if we don't start seeing that, that is then an issue, and that can't happen. But I loved what I saw in the game, I think, from Tomas Jakob. I thought he was incredible. He went out for me. I liked him in the Lexington match. I like him even more in Cincy. I think he's going to be a really good addition to this team for his versatility and also just his grit, his attitude. I really like him.
So, Abe, getting into the discussion, I know that there are probably 3 players that we can get into in depth here, but I know that once again your time is limited, so I will give you your final salvo here. Baez, Jacob, Cooper Sanchez, obviously Lucas Hoyos stepping in as an experienced keeper. One of the 4 new faces in the starting 11 that was Almiron, Latte Loth, Cooper Sanchez, Jacob, Alzate, Saba. Backline, Baez, Baracol, Mihai, Ronald Hernandez in front of Lucas Hoyos. So anything else on your mind, sir, on a reaction Monday?
Yeah, I looked at the lineup and I discussed with Maddie post-game, like, what are the changes you might see? And there's just not much. Like, work in progress, and I don't think you want to overreact. And you certainly want to get Moranchuk back into the lineup Saba did disappear a little bit after that first 25 minutes. I think he may have been kind of the biggest victim of going a little bit too hard out the gate and going from there. So maybe you take a look at Moronchuk there or again for Cooper. But I think generally you're pretty happy with what you saw. Honestly, and I know you gave up 2, but the whole back half of your roster rotation, Mihai and Barakal, Ronald Hernandez was, and I say this in a good way, invisible. Like we weren't necessarily complimenting him a ton, but
the offensive lineman approach. You only talk about
right, yeah. A lot of times with defensive players, and I know we did earlier credit Baez and single him out for a bunch of good plays, but most of the time we're talking about these guys, it's because they made like a tragic mistake. And so we didn't have that. He was absolutely fine, which in this moment is a good thing. And then Alzate and Jacob. So I think you're looking at, that back group is just set. And then you got to find a way, again, if he's fit, match ready to get Moronchuk onto the pitch, whether that's out wide or whether that's still in the center. That's a Tata decision. But I thought it was a pretty good fight. If we're going to be honest, I really did. And we know games against and in San Jose are super weird. But San Jose's not FC Cincinnati. And I think if you perform what we saw in the match day 1 with some improvements, like a little bit better pacing, carrying strong performance all the way into halftime and then hopefully out of halftime, I think you're going to have a real opportunity to pick up some points on the road and maybe all 3. So again, it's tough to sit here and compliment after a 2-0 loss, but it was a tight game. There were moments where it could have gone either way. And so I think you build from it, but it wasn't the worst baseline to set. I do feel a little bit better right now than I did at most of the point last season. The difference is you now have to improve off of the baseline. It does you no good to stay at the same baseline. The point here is here's where we are. We're only going to get better from here. Every team says that they're going to get better from here. The challenge is actually getting better from here. And so if you can do that, I think you'll be in okay shape, but you have to show that. And again, you want to see the bump from match day 1 to match day 2.
And next week when you come in, since you're wearing the jacket, I want to use it as an analogy when it comes to, progressing and running too much and bonking and navigating all of that stuff, because that was what stuck in my head, but it came in too late into this conversation. Mm-hmm. It's me and Maddie on Saturday, are you off running like a hyper marathon or something?
No, I am preparing for the Sunday marathon. And the whole point of it is twofold. Like I probably could do pregame, but like I don't want to be in studio at 10:30 or 11 o'clock wrapping up postgame, trying to get home and then waking up at like 4 a.m. to run a marathon. I want to get as much ideally quality sleep as possible, although I'm quite honestly not expecting to fall asleep easily or for much time. Saturday night, just the mind's going to be wandering. It's kind of already started that way. But also, like, I am usually pretty dehydrated after speaking for multiple hours, whether it's 1 hour pre and then another hour post. And so that's not the best idea either, to like dehydrate yourself intentionally before a race. So I'm taking off. You guys are running the ship, and I look forward to listening from home on the Odyssey app.
Caddy's at Bushwood, brother. That's what it's going to be. So enjoy. Thank you as always for your Mondays, and thank you for your weekends as well. We'll catch up with you soon, my friend.
You got it. Have a good rest of the show.
There we go. There's Abe. All right, Maddie, you and me. It's a preview for Saturday. We're getting them ready. We're getting everybody ready for Saturday. Yes. All right. So yes, the numbers on Jacob, and I did want to kind of get into some of the other new faces as well. Jacob wraps up officially with 9 defensive contributions, 3 tackles, 1, 2 picks, 2 clearances, 6 recoveries, 11 of 13 on his duels on the day, obviously 2 fouls registered. So you look at Tomas Jacob, and I'm really excited about the upside of Tomas Jacob. Let's get into the other 2. You mentioned Baez and Cooper Sanchez as a part of the other new faces out of necessity. When you look at those, Cooper, let's go with Cooper here for a second. When you looked at what Cooper did, Cooper just stepped in that 73 minutes, and he didn't seem out of place.
Mm-hmm. No, and I think it's been building, I think, since the end of last season. I think you were seeing him make really big strides, I think, with Atlanta United too. And, he gets rewarded for it. In preseason, he played a lot, especially with this team, in Lexington. And then obviously traveled with the team, went to preseason with them. Tata sees something in him, or else he wouldn't have given him the start. It's that saying, if you're good enough, you're old enough. It's simple as that. And I think I use the term unafraid. It's something Jason used, something I've used. And Abe pointed it out. I mean, we've studied for a lot of these homegrowns, haven't we? In these moments, and who have, they have not looked not up for the moment too. They have always looked ready to go, no matter what it is. And I even think back to even Dominic's first MLS start, which was a chaotic one because he was thrown in 30 minutes before. Dominic handled it with pride, with grace, and he came out there and he looked like he was ready to be out there. That's the academy, and what the Academy of Atlanta United 2 has done is they have prepared these players to get ready to jump on to the main stage when asked of them, and they look up for the challenge. And it's why you see so much success with these homegrowns for Atlanta United because of that. It's because of that preparation. It's because of everything that Javier Perez has done over there with the academy side. All of the coaches, all of the coaching staff, everybody there since 2016, they have done this. They have established this. They've set the precedent. And now you're seeing the reward of it. You're seeing so many young players who are ready to step up and help the first team when needed. And that's exactly what you want to do because, listen, I think a big foundation of it, especially when it comes to these homegrowns, is what they bring you not only, I think, on the field, but the attitude. We talked about it a lot last year. I think in the sense of, that I for the badge. It's very similar to Elias Baez, too, especially with San Lorenzo. It's the exact same thing. He was in the academy there. He then had the chance to play for them. That's a different mentality because you grow up wearing that badge. You grow up wearing that badge from very young. So when you get the opportunity to be a part of the first team, probably players that you've looked up to for years, being around, it's a dream of yours to jump up there. They're ready for the challenge because they know that they have to go out there and they bleed for the crest. And I think why I thought Cooper looked really, really great. He didn't have to name a whole lot, but when you did, it was good. And sometimes it's also his name a lot. That means he's doing what he's supposed to do. And I think especially with what Tata wants him and even Steven Alzate to do is really get high in the attack. That's what that system looked like. He wanted them to get more involved. And that Cooper, fun to watch. That was really cool getting to see his name in the lineup and in the starting lineup. Youngest player to start in a season opener. That's pretty cool for Cooper. And then for Elias, I'm going to jump the gun and I'll go ahead and just go ahead and transition over to that one.
There you go.
But I think for Baez, I was really curious to see him line up because, it was very recent as well when he came. He didn't really know how much time he had with the team to gel. But I mean, from what he did out on the field, I mean, it looked like he's been with this team for years. I mean, he looked really comfortable. And I think that's a credit to what this group has done is, you bring somebody in and how quickly they can be acclimated and get things going. And I really like that from Baez. I love his pace. I love his awareness of the game. It's so easy when we talk about defensive plays for it to just be like, oh, you're going to put your foot in and block the ball. You're going to, get in the passing lane for that. There's so much more, I think, that goes into it in the sense of you really want to sit there and you want to do everything you can to strip the ball, get the ball back, but also you want to do everything you can to not allow for a scoring opportunity. Sometimes that's just making your presence known, making sure that the attacker knows you're there and you force the attacker to make a decision. Are you going to try to go pass back and try to rebuild there? And I think that's what Elias Baez did a lot. And he also tracked back really quickly too, because there was a couple of times where there'd be to run back and he would immediately run back and run up, knock it out over the touchline. And that's what you need to do. You slow down the play, you allow for numbers to get back, and you get things going again. I thought both of them had a really solid performance. I was really impressed with the three that we saw with Jakob as well as Baez and then Sanchez getting the opportunity in their starts of the season for Atlanta United.
All right, so do you need to jet now?
You got me for another 5 minutes.
Okay, then we'll take that 5. And I just want to go through some of the numbers here from some of the select folks. We mentioned Elias Baez, 10 defensive contributions on the day, 1 pick, 9 clearances for Baez on the afternoon, 4 recoveries. And then for Cooper in 73 minutes, 3 defensive contributions for Cooper, 2 picks, a clear, 5 recoveries, and he also won a duel on the afternoon. Barakal and Mihai as your center backs. I know that you look at that matchup. You're also looking at Stian Gregerson and wondering where he is when it comes to his health and integrating into the lineup. Alexei was out for a couple of matches. He was being listed as day-to-day, aren't we all? He comes in for his cup of coffee late from, we'll go ahead and say, 30,000 feet. First time out of the blocks, a difficult place to play, and I want to get into the 2 moments. I want to get into each of the 2 goals. Mm-hmm. One, it's an issue in the middle third, and Cincinnati known for 2 things, and those 2 things bit you on the day. One, going in transition, being very, very quick, and putting the ball in the back of the net once a turnover is created by Atlanta United in the middle third.
Can't happen. I mean, it is a giveaway because the ball went in and it was actually like right around the attacking ball. Then it was a heavier touch. It was a giveaway. But listen, it's like you said, how quickly the transition can happen for Cincinnati. It's what you want to avoid. And A.M. Mihai talked a bit at the very end of the game to Jason Longshore, and so did Tobe. And I agree with them. I think it's lapse of concentration. It's a moment where that's in the attacking third. Everyone then gets caught flat-footed in the sense of, oh, okay, we got a turnover, got to immediately spark and go. But it's the 80th minute, and Cincy has the gas, and they go, and then Denke is able to come on in and slot it home to make it 1-0. I think it goes back to a lot of what I was talking about. I think the way Tata wants to play, it requires a lot of energy, a lot of really, really pushing the limit. And something we saw a lot of in early 2017 and even 18 a little bit. There'd be times where it'd be all gas, but then it's all gas for 30 minutes, and then it kind of falls. And it's about picking your moments. Yep. It's not about training. It's not about fitness level. This team is fit. You've heard Steven Alzate talk about it. This is probably the fittest I think they have all been. They are fit. This has nothing to do with fitness or anything. It has to do with just managing emotion, managing energy. And it's a very difficult thing to do, especially in the home opener. You're excited, you're on the road, you're feeling the energy, you want to get things going quickly. So you see, and you immediately try to go 100, 110 the first time you see it. You just can't do that, especially in the system that we're going to be seeing a lot of, and where it's that high press, it's really, really high line. You're going to want to keep the ball a lot, but you're going to be making quick transition as soon as you get the ball, trying to get it up the field as fast as you can. It's about picking your moments. And I think you get to the point in the 80th minute where if that turnover happens, how quickly you can try to get back and get structured defensively. It's because I think of that pace, and that's going to just be managing it as the game goes on. It's the first game for that. But I mean, I think it's something that Tomas and Anea said too. It's, you got to make sure that you're keeping the ball in those moments, because you have to make sure that because then a turnover like that can happen. But it's kind of like what I was saying to Abe in post game. This is the first match. It's an opportunity to learn. I in the next couple of games, if the same thing happens again, just like we saw in Cincinnati, you're not going to see the same mistake. You're going to see that it gets fixed quickly. And then at that point too, I think with the header from Haglund too, it's a really great ball, and we know Haglund. I mean, if you get him into an opportunity, he's going to find a way to find a header, and that's what he did. But it's Tomas Jakob said it post game. It's a lapse in concentration. That needs to change. That needs to be quick. And that is something, again, I think really does equate to, match day. There's only so much you can replicate in a preseason game, the emotions of it all and everything else. That's a factor that you have to think about when you're coming into your first game of the MLS season. Now you're in it. You're in the regular season. Now it matters, especially heading into the playoffs. You want to make sure you're getting as much points as possible, and added emotion. It's how you manage those emotions, mentally concentrated. And, I'll leave it with this, and it's one thing that Anea said to Jason at the end of the game as well, and you can see that in my piece as well as Jason's piece as well, coming soon. I think it might be posted, but I just teased it, so it's going to be soon. But where I think I agree. I like the attitude that I saw. That was something that I really emphasized last year that I wanted to see more of, and I thought I saw it. Matt Edwards said in the preseason, and he when we asked him the identity of his team, he said nasty. And I like that because it's not nasty in the sense of we're going to be mean, we're going to be rude. Like, it's nasty as in aggressive, as in just we're going to get in your face. We're going to make it so difficult for you to be comfortable with the ball. And I thought they made Cincinnati uncomfortable. It took them until the 80th minute to find something. And they made it uncomfortable for Cincinnati. I think that first half was really even. Second half, Cincinnati was able to take a little bit more of that control. And I do think it comes to just that emotion element of it all. But I really like the attitude of this team. I like the attitude. I like their players ready to jump into those tackles. I like that you saw a little bit of that bite from Ronald Hernandez and Cooper Sanchez as well. I like that you saw a lot of that because that's what I wanted to see. And I think the team has this attitude, and I like that attitude that they have. And I think that is going to help them carry over, and it's going to help them, especially as we look ahead to San Jose, which, John, I have a sneaky feeling that game is going to be absolutely insane. And I'm honestly here for it because I was looking back at some of the other games that we've played against San Jose.
Yeah.
And it's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun. We're going to have a great time.
Yeah. So what are we, 6:30 on 92.9? I think.
6:30 on 92.9.
All right. So 6:30, 92.9 the game. It is the two of us with the pregame and Five Stripes Countdown, and then it's the game with Jason and Matt and Mike. And then afterwards, it is Full-Time Report with us here. So go do your stuff. I know you're kind of out and about and trying to get things done because it's one of the rare times when you can get things done during a match week. So go do your things. We'll catch up with you soon.
I will. Thank you guys for having me.
All right. That's Maddie. So that's your rundown of your standard Monday when I'm not muting myself for the first 5 minutes of the show. Abe and Maddie. Traditionally, it's going to be one than the other, but because Maddie's kind of on the hop this morning, that's why I had to blend the two. So that's where we are. All right, we'll get into the numbers, get into some of the quotes, and get you ready for the rest of the week. Team is leaving Thursday to go out to San Jose to get acclimated to Pacific time and all of that. We're going to catch up at some point this week with Ted Ramey, play-by-play voice of the San Jose Earthquakes, and we will have that in the show later in the week. So since we're talking that, here's your rundown as I know it right now. Here's as we know it right now. Tomorrow, obviously, it is KCD. Casey White's going to join us at 10. We'll get into what we saw with Chicago and Houston specifically. And we're also efforting another guest to hopefully be in there either in hour number 2 or at the end of hour number 1. So KCD and probably more people tomorrow. Then on Wednesday, Max Anderson, the play-by-play voice for Chicago Fire on WLS, is going to join us at 9:10. Dylan Butler is going to join us at 10 o'clock. Once again, we're efforting more guests that we have reached out to this week as well. Power Hour is Thursday. Nina and Nico, 10 and 10:30. Then Friday, it's our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring, our friends from Apple TV, and Ryan Feigert, the play-by-play voice of SC Dallas, is going to join us 10:30 on Friday morning to break down what happened this past weekend in the matchup with Toronto and get you ready for the weekend. We'll have all your juice boxes, your officiating matchups, all the lineups and everything. That's going to be on Friday here on the morning show. And so in addition to that, we got soccer over there tonight at 8 o'clock, 8 to 10. We'll go over what we know. And there's something that we have to discuss quickly before we get back into Major League Soccer that has broken out this hour. Tomorrow, it is Northgate and Stars Mill, the doubleheader at Stars Mill. It's going to be at 6 and 8 on the network, so it'll be Northgate and Stars Mill on Tuesday. Friday, Maddie and I will have West Forsyth and Lambert, and that doubleheader will be up at West Forsyth. Thanks to Brett Phipps and thanks to the coaches up there for having us for that. So it is 2 matches this week. It is Northgate and Stars Mill Tuesday and West Forsyth and Lambert on Friday, presented as always by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Couldn't do any of this without them. So thanks, big ups and big thanks to everything going on there on the high school side. We're going to have, and I forgot to write this down. Glad I remembered to write this down finally. So Red Clay lunch, Red Clay Wednesday is going to be at noon. And we are efforting as a part of Red Clay Wednesday all 4 coaches that are attached to Wintersville. Wintersville Classic is tomorrow in South Georgia. So what I want to do is I want to have all 4 coaches on to look at Wintersville Classic and kind of break down, A, their 2 programs, B, their 2 teams inside the 2 programs. So you're looking at Lowndes and Valdosta. We've had our friend Cody Case on before. He's going to join us to find out where their programs are, both boys and girls at Valdosta, boys and girls at Lowndes. I want to find out where both of those programs are on each campus. And I want to talk about Wintersville on the whole with those 4 coaches. So that's the rundown for Red Clay Wednesday at noon across the network, once again presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. So that's the rundown for the week. Red Clay, lunchtime Wednesday, efforting all 4 coaches from the Wintersville Classic from Lowndes and Valdosta to break down high school soccer from that perspective, since that is tomorrow. And if you're anywhere close, if you are a fan of Wintersville in a Wintersville sense, go see Wintersville on Tuesday. And we'll find out what's going on there in South Georgia with those 4 programs. All right. We mentioned what's going on with the FIFA. We do have, according to Dan Kilpatrick at The Athletic, a quick note. Benfica Gianluca Prestiani has been suspended by UEFA for the reverse fixture Wednesday after allegedly racially abusing Vinicius Jr. in the first leg last week. A statement from UEFA, quote, following the appointment of a UEFA ethics and disciplinary inspector to investigate allegations of discriminatory behavior during UEFA Champions League 25-26 knockout playoff match between SL Benfica and Real Madrid CF on 17 February 2026, and upon request of the EDI with an interim report, UEFA Control Ethics and Disciplinary Body today decided to provisionally suspend Mr. Gianluca Prestiani for the next one UEFA club competition match for which he would otherwise be eligible for the prima facie, for me it's prima facie, but for the prima facie violation of Article 14 of the UEFA disciplinary regulations related to a discriminatory behavior. Quote, this is without prejudice to any ruling that the UEFA disciplinary bodies may subsequently make following the conclusion of the ongoing investigation and its respective submission to the UEFA disciplinary bodies. Further information about this matter will be made available in due course, end quote. So UEFA opened the investigation into Vinicius Jr.'s allegations. Let's see. An incident saw the game stop for 8 minutes after the implementation of the anti-racism protocol by match referee Francois Letexier. UEFA appointed an ethics and disciplinary inspector, given the case is so high profile, to gather evidence from speaking to those involved. 10 games, according to Kilpatrick, once again, this is from The Athletic this morning. 10 games is UEFA's minimum length of suspension for racist conduct, and their guidelines state that such disciplinary sanctions should be accompanied by awareness programs run by the club. And so he goes into the incident, and he goes into the reactions from individuals either on each team or close. So that's what you're staring at. So Prestiani has a provisional 1-match suspension heading into the reverse fixture in the middle of the week, and the incident is still under investigation. Okay, so screaming all the way back to Atlanta United. All right, stats on the day. Let me get into starting lineups, and we'll get into stats here and quotes, because there are some things to get into from Tata Martino and Tomas Jacob. So for Atlanta, once again, Hoyos in net, Baez, Baracol, Mihai, Ronald Hernandez, Lobjanidze, Alzate, Jacob, Cooper Sanchez, Latte Lot, and Miguel Almiron, your starting 11. For Pat Noonan, it was Celentano in net, and he plays the 5-3-2, 3-5-2, whatever you want to call it. Tine Chadebi, Miles Robinson, Nick Haglund, your 3 center backs. Ramirez, Guidi, Evander, Buka, Echenike, your 5 in the midfield. And then Denke and Jabari up top. So those are that's your rundown. So on the afternoon, since we've mentioned Jacob and we have mentioned Cooper Sanchez, then Elias Baez, we mentioned the 10 contributions there. So Cooper and Baez and Tomas Jacob, those were the 3 of your 4 new faces. Miggy on the afternoon, the highest rated player, courtesy of our friends at SofaScore, with a 7.5. With Miggy, it was 3 total shots, 2 on target, 1 blocked, twice called for offside. His passing numbers on the afternoon, 36 of 43. Excuse me. 36 of 43 passing at 84%, 79% in the opposition half for Miguel. And then on the dribble, so what SofaScore has done, they've divided it up into 4 separate categories now. 65 touches on the afternoon, 1 successful dribble, total carrying distance 219 meters, 23 carries, 2 progressive carries, longest progressive carry of 25 meters. And then defensively for Miggy, 6 defensive contributions on the afternoon, 1 tackle, 1 O-N-E, tackle 1, W-O-N. 2 picks, a clear, a block, 6 recoveries, 7 of 9 on his ground duels on the afternoon for Miguel Almiron. So that is, those are the individual numbers. So getting into the stats on the day. And so what we'll do here is I'll break it up into first half and full time. So full time numbers, I'll work backward. So no big chances for Atlanta United, 8 total shots, 11 for FC Cincinnati, 3 saves for Celentano on the afternoon. 2 of them came in the first 25 minutes in that first rush that Maddie was talking about, the shot from Saba outside the 18, and then the shot from Miggy from the far side as you're watching the match, the far side of the 18 from about 20 or 21, and Celentano had an easy read on it. He had a clear lane to take a peek. Passes about even in number. Tackles, Atlanta United 21 compared to 16. 2 yellow cards on the afternoon. So 11 total shots for Cincinnati, 8 for Atlanta United, 3 shots on targets each. 1 hit the woodwork for FC Cincinnati. 5 shots off target to 2, 3 blocks each side. Shots inside the 18, 11, 6 FC Cincinnati. And we just mentioned the 2 shots that were outside the 18 for Atlanta United. Both of those happened in the first half. Touches in the opposition, 18, 29-19 for FC Cincinnati. They also missed 2 big chances, fouled in the final third, even at 3, and then 7 offsides for Atlanta United compared to 5 for FC Cincinnati. I'm trying to go through the other numbers. Let's see. So 56-44% on the ground duels. Even Steven, 52-48 in the air. And on the dribble, it was 6 of 14 for Atlanta United compared to 13 of 20 for FC Cincinnati. Passing, we mentioned the numbers in general. Final third entries. And this is going to stick with folks. 55-28. Twice as many final third entries for FC Cincinnati than Atlanta United. Passes in the final third, 109-79. Percentage completion was the same, believe it or not, at 70%. Long balls, 37 of 57 for FC Cincinnati, 12 of 40 for Atlanta United. Crosses 8-2 on the afternoon. Let's see. Defense, Atlanta United won 57% of their tackles, 14 picks to 10, 51 recoveries to 44 for FC Cincinnati, 29 clearances for Atlanta United compared to 22. Now, let's get into the first half numbers, where if you look at the momentum, looking at that first 25, as both Abe and Maddie were talking about, then there was a little bit of a stretch in the final 15 minutes or so, but it was Atlanta United in control for most of the first 25. Then FC Cincinnati takes over. Then Atlanta United has another bit of a run, and then you get to the half, and the rest of that's FC Cincinnati. So first half numbers for the matchup here, 51-49 possession. Total shots, 5-3 FC Cincinnati. Fouls, 9-7 Atlanta United. 9 tackles to 5. Free kicks, 9-7 FC Cincinnati. The attack map, no big chances scored or missed either side. Fouled in the final third. Atlanta United was fouled twice. They only had 2 off, so they had 5 offsides called in the final 45 minutes. Then you had 4 offsides called on FC Cincinnati in the first half. Atlanta had won 54% of the duels. They were only dispossessed twice. They dispossessed Cincinnati 7 times in the first 45 minutes. Ground duels, Atlanta United 21 of 38, so they won 55% of the ground, 50-50 in the air. 6 of 9 on the dribble in the first half compared to 4 of 6. Passing, final third entries, once again, 2-1. So that was a uniform number across 90 minutes, 27-14 FC Cincinnati. Long balls completed, 20 of 29 for FC Cincinnati, only 8 of 27 for Atlanta United. Crosses, 4 crosses completed for FC Cincinnati on 9 attempts. Atlanta only attempted 3 and did not complete 1 in the first half. Total tackles, 9-5 first half, Atlanta United. 7 picks each side. Recoveries pretty much even, 27-25 FC Cincinnati. Atlanta United 12 clearances in the first 45 minutes compared to 7 for FC Cincinnati. So that's the first half numbers. And the second half numbers, obviously, we'll get the disparity here. 4 big chances in the second 45 for FC Cincinnati. Total shots was 6-5. Keeper saves 1 for Celentano, none for Hoyos. Tackles even, 12-11. Free kicks, 9-3 off of the fouls. Shots, 6-5. Shots on target, 3-1. 1 hit the woodwork, 2 off target for each. 2 block shots for Atlanta United, 1 for FC Cincinnati. 6 shots inside the 18 to 5 in the attack. 2 big chances scored, 2 missed, none for Atlanta United either side in the second 45. 5 offsides once again second half. That number, that's telling where you only had 2 in the first half, 5 in the second as you're trying to create something. Duels, it was 28-15 in the second half on the ground, 65-35 for FC Cincinnati. 9 of 17 in the air, so it's just a difference of 1. On the dribble, FC Cincinnati, 9 successful. Atlanta United, only 1 in the second half. Long balls, 17 long balls in the second half for FC Cincinnati compared to 4 for Atlanta United on twice as many attempts also. Crosses, 4 for FC Cincinnati, 2 for Atlanta United. Defending, once again, you look at the defense numbers, 17 clearances to 15, 19 recoveries compared to 24 for FC Cincinnati, 7 picks compared to 3, 12 tackles compared to 11, and Atlanta won half of their tackles in the second half, and FC Cincinnati wins almost 2/3, 64, so 5 out of 8 basically in the second half. So that's the disparity in the numbers from half to half as opposed to the overall, and that's why I wanted to look at those numbers. Quick quotes quickly. So Tata Martino, final minutes. Tata said, lost the ball in the attack. We weren't well positioned to get back defensively in that moment. Up until that moment, we competed well. We knew this was going to be a game that comes down to one ball or small details because Cincinnati is a good team that has been working with Pat for a while now. We knew the game would be like that. On Cooper Sanchez. He's someone who we thought was doing a good job all preseason, been working really well. He's a young player who's dynamic. He has good technique. We felt he was ready to play, and I feel that he had a very correct game. We went over those numbers for Cooper. Second half. Tata was asked about that when Cincinnati had more control. Could be that some mistakes allowed them to grow into the game. Also, they were able to find some passes into their center forwards. Maybe they were able to play through our pressure better in the second half to get their midfielders the ball, and they were able to control the game more. That lends itself to the fatigue factor that we saw toward the end of the first half and Cincinnati being in control for most of the second half. I think that you look at Atlanta United and that first 25 minutes is what you're expecting from this group. As Abe said in the first segment here in hour number 1, you're looking for that 25 to turn into 45. You're looking for that 45 to turn into 60. You're looking for that 60 to turn into 75. Substitutions from 60 or 75 to get you over the line. But that same kind of approach that we saw in the first 25 minutes where Atlanta United's pressing, they're getting possession back, and they're creating issues for FC Cincinnati and creating those early chances that we talked about. But FC Cincinnati gets control late first half. Once again, Atlanta United has that one window. But the first 25 minutes, you look at possession, you look at control, it was Atlanta United. But now it's taking that from 25 to 45, from 45 to 60, from 60 to 75, from 75 to 90. So progression. I mentioned Tomas Jakob's performance and the difficulty against Evander and Valenzuela. Now, Jakob after the match. Think the level's very high, discussing Major League Soccer. Think the level's very high. There are good players in the league with good quality. It's a league with a lot of transitions, and you have to adapt and always be alert. As we saw tonight, there are plays when small details can impact the game. On what happened on both goals, quote, both goals were 2 concentration issues from us. We have to admit that and get better. Those are things we have to work on during the week. First one is the turnover in the attack leads to a transition moment. And literally that attack, stepping out of the quote for a second, Guidi, Echenike, Denke, shot, goal. Second goal is one from a corner. And across, you have to be alert or you end up paying. 2 mistakes of concentration from us, and we will work on that. And Nick Hagelin can jump out of a gym when he's healthy anyway. So Hagelin first of the ball. jumps out of the gym, gets their first header 2-0. Positives to take away from tonight's season opener despite the result. Jacob, quote, "Of course, there are many positives we can take from it, mostly our attitude, how we continued to push all the way through 90 minutes, even down 2-0. Many positive things we can take away. We'll continue working on them going forward." So that's your quote machine for Atlanta United. Now, it is hour number 2, which means one thing, that we slide on over and find out what's going on with Bart Keeler, because there is a new episode of the Soccer for US POD that is out. Whoop, whoop. I think the kids go whoop, whoop. I think that's what we do.
Whoop, whoop, John. Happy
yeah.
Monday. It's not a victory Monday here in Atlanta, but I know people will be happy that Ronald Hernandez started for us because there's no other right back option on this team, and we love it.
Yeah.
There's my shot for the day.
Careful, cowboy. So, all right, first and foremost, is your microphone plugged in? Because I hear ambient.
It's supposed to be.
I hear ambient.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. You're like in channel 2 and channel 1 is muted. Nothing like Mondays, huh? Well, look at it this way, dude. I was muted.
Plugged in? I don't know.
There it is. That's the one.
Oh, okay.
Right there. That's the sound I was looking for. But hey, look at it this way. You could have been me doing an opening monologue on a muted mic.
There we go.
So I had that. Yay for me. All right. So
Monday.
No, exactly. So there are a couple of things I need to get into with you. Need/want. And what is the mug this morning, by the way? Ah, yes.
We got the Arsenal mug because we did win the North London Derby again.
Yes, you did. That is true. Absolutely true. All right. So there is a new episode of the Soccer for US POD that is out. What are some of the highlights without giving it away so people actually go and listen?
Well, we do talk about, as the title of the episode implies, players on the bubble for the U.S. men's national team. Unfortunately, I do mention a couple names that people are going to be disgruntled about, including myself. But we're trying to be realistic about players who will make that final roster that Mauricio Pochettino will put out sometime in late May, I assume.
Okay, so are you gruntled over any individuals, considering that you say folks may be disgruntled over some of the content?
There are a couple of folks that we do mention that I think will make the team better, raise the floor for sure, and to their credit, have played themselves back into positions of saying, hey, I should be included in the team. And that's what you want. You want to see guys who are playing hard, who prove that they belong on the U.S. national team, not just when they step on the field for the U.S. national team, but also when they go back to their club. So there are a couple of names that I know people will be on both sides of who will be and won't be included that people might get a little testy about. And again, we're trying to be realistic. This is not what our heart says. It's what we think Mauricio Pochettino will say.
Okay, without blowing all of the numbers from each side, give me the one that probably surprises you the most that is on the list on either side.
So Christian Roldan is one that we talk about being included, which I think I'm the one who mentions it. And it hurts my heart because I do not think that I know he's had a good game for the U.S. national team, which, hey, he had one good game in his 49 caps. That's great. He just, again, you don't send a guy to a Super Bowl with a camera crew and him not be included in a World Cup roster. Yes, Seattle looked pretty decent last night against a Colorado team that I don't know what they were doing. They looked lost most of the time out there, but good for Seattle looking competent. Roldan also looked competent. I'm just going to be honest. I've never seen him as someone who's more than an above average guy. On the flip side, we talk about Gio Reyna, who, proof of life is few and far between. We don't know what he's doing today, let alone if he'll be healthy tomorrow. or next week or anything. So, again, the realism comes into play of, sure, he shows up and balls out for the USMNT when he is healthy for 3 weeks out of the year. Are those 3 weeks going to be during the World Cup?
Yeah, there you go. Keep an eye on all that. Okay, so once again, what episode number is this? 9004?
137.
Nice. Okay, so that's MCCCVII. We're not quite to 140 yet, so I can do it. An MXL, but it's MCCCVII. Okay, so that's me and my Roman numerals this morning. Since you mentioned Colorado and Seattle, I want to flip the order a little bit.
All right.
Cards and calls, and yeah, it was a unique evening for Malik Badawi on the floor and Remy Touchon in the booth. If you were to do an opening statement for this 5-paragraph essay, what would you say?
In the light rain of a cool Seattle evening, two teams took the pitch looking to start their seasons, but were chilled by an inconsistent referee performance.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. So, yes. And sidebar: Jordan Morris lasted 7 minutes before he was taken injury. And Sonny Dotson.
I have not seen an update on that. I'm not sure when that'll come out, but I don't expect good news from that dude.
Yeah. So we'll have Nico on Thursday to go more in depth. But 7 minutes and then down for Jordan Morris. Dotson taken off as a concussion sub. And so 2 subs had to be made by Brian Schmetzer in a game that they were in control of after the first 30 minutes. But I guess you want to start with the Noah Cobb, when is a red not a red?
Yeah, I think Noah Cobb's a good place to start because I think this was, emblematic of the way the referee called the whole game. Mm-hmm. He was very quick to call fouls, very quick to pull out cards. And he was quick, apparently, to pull out. Now, granted, when I'm watching it, I didn't even register that as a red card. And I think that was true with the commentary team, right? They kind of were surprised, like, oh, this was a red card. We have a red card. Noah Cobb is leaving the field. It was, a little bit of a shock. I guess I just assumed it was a yellow card in the moment. But it was a straight red on the field. Noah Cobb does run from about 5 yards away, gets a running head start, leaps into an aerial duel. Mm-hmm. His forearm/elbow does make contact with certainly the shoulder or above of I think it was the Seattle kid who had the assist in the goal, I think, on the night was who it was. And he gets a red card for it. Now, as he slowly is walking off, VAR is reviewing, sends the referee to the monitor. And I think personally, very quickly, you see, okay, this is not up to the standard of what the red card was for, which was violent conduct. Mm-hmm. The referee makes the decision, no, this was a reckless foul. I think that is a fair decision of what happened. He kind of went in a little too hard, but it was not serious foul play. It was not violent conduct. He didn't use excessive force with his arm. I mean, he doesn't even raise his arm above. Yeah, no, it was literally 0 degrees above his shoulder.
Yeah, as Noah Cobb is jumping up in the challenge, and it almost was a 2v2 challenge on this aerial duel. Noah's arm is tucked to his side, and I'm trying to check and see if it's either Rothrock or Jesus Ferreira that he goes into. But
I think literally, it was Rothrock.
So Noah is going up into the air, and his arm is in. I mean, it's not like one of those where it's like, flailing like we've seen with other folks trying to feel like you're going to gain 3 feet of vertical if you have flapping wings or anything like that. But the arm is down at his side, and Noah jumps up and is trying to lean into some kind of an impact, and that was called violent conduct. And yes, I mean, I will grant, I don't think this was violent conduct under any circumstance. I'll grant that that as you're completing your action, as you see, I want to say 99.9% of the time, when you're jumping up into the air and you're trying to have some dude get away from you, literally you're going to do this. That is a natural byproduct of that move. But as Noah is challenging, Noah is going up and his arm is static, and it's called red card violent conduct. And I was like, much like Kanji and Danny, I was like, let's see. Oh, it was Rothrock. Okay, so it was Rothrock,
who had quite a game.
26 minutes. So both Reggie Cannon and Noah Cobb are going into Paul Rothrock. Cannon from behind, Noah from Rothrock's left. So Noah's coming in, and the thought was, I guess, that as Noah is jumping up and leaning into the situation, that's your violent conduct completed with the flourish. And I guess it is it's a flourish here, you know. Yeah. And it was.
I'm with you, John. Like I think his arm is raised in a normal manner in which you jump for a header.
It's like, hey, I'm trying to gain elevation. Yeah. So what am I doing? I've got to do this, you know.
It was the wrong call. Let's just put it that way. And they did get it right. But again, I think this was an example of the referee. Now, granted, Colorado did themselves no favors because Lord knows they were fouling a lot very stupidly throughout the game. And I think before this, there were already 2 yellow cards given for very much yellow card reasons. I think the referee got a little card trigger happy. But I just think in the moment he got a little too overheated himself. Yeah. And said, that's a red card. And it just wasn't.
Yeah. You end up in a 19-minute stretch. You end up with 4 yellow cards from Colorado. Navajo in the 23rd. Noah in the 30th after his red is wiped off the board. Then Dante Seeley and Reggie Cannon, who I thought their challenges were far worse than Noah's, get yellow cards from Badawi as well. And so I thought, there was at one point where I looked at the Reggie Cannon challenge and I'm like, man, that's rough. That's almost that. If you're looking for violent conduct, the Cannon yellow to me would have been higher scale than Noah Cobb's was. I think that Colorado was lucky in the first half, down a goal. I thought they were lucky to finish the match with 11-11 in this one.
17 fouls committed for Colorado, 12 of those in the first half. So that's a messy first half. I'm with you. I think Colorado was lucky to finish with 11 players out there. But yeah, that was the referee had a night. He was busy. And again, Colorado did themselves no favors. They committed a lot of fouls. As you pointed out, Seeley and Cannon were lucky to have not been given straight reds. And those were not the only fouls they committed in that first half. Maybe, and I'm not saying this ever happens, but maybe he was making up a little bit for the goal that he disallowed against Seattle.
Yeah, you want to get into that one for me?
I think I do, actually, because it was Danny Higginbotham on the color commentary, right?
Yeah, it was Kanji and Danny. Yeah.
Look, the dude is, the dude is a British, so he doesn't believe fouls ever should be called, because proper football man. Wow, I like Danny a lot. I'm just. Oh yeah,
we love Danny. Look, if Danny openly on this show that he plays fantasy football and he has issues getting Hollywood Brown, we like Danny Higginbotham.
Danny's great. I'm not gonna Danny's a great MLS commentator. We are lucky to have him. I don't always agree when he says, "Oh, that's never a foul," because he does kind of have that about him. But I kind of agreed with him in the sense here that Seattle they score a goal. Obviously, all goals are checked. There's nothing wrong with that. They should be. Especially this one. Oh, was he offside? No, because there's a defender laying down. And then you go back and obviously you have to look at why was that defender laying on the ground. Now, he does get a late header to the head, I think is what I saw. But I'm not sure that's who they called the foul on in the penalty area off the cross. Because I believe he said number 9. I'm trying to remember. That was last night. It was late. I had just watched
Okay,
a lot
so
of Olympics
it
that
was
day and other sports.
okay.
So
So it
things were
was
running
a
together.
shot through. Yeah. So it was Alex Roldan who takes the shot from outside the 18, and then you end up with a save. So it's header clears, Alex Roldan, and then Dotson with the slam dunk to make it 2. And so in the build-up, after Dotson gets the slam dunk, and Zach Steffen, literally, he was defending for his life at points. And it was an easy slam
bless
dunk
his
for
heart.
Dotson. Dotson ends up with the goal, but you end up with jogging Malik Badawi. And it is analyzed that how he is jogging for a long time in this highlight package. Head-to-head contact is what I think they were looking at.
Yeah.
And so, all right, so head-to-head contact, and we're walking through it here, and I'm kind of seeing what Badawi is seeing. So it goes in, and in the joust, I don't know, foul by number 9, final decision, no goal, free kick. Okay. So Jesus Ferreira is called for a foul inside the 18, and that wipes out the goal that made it 2-0 at the time.
Yeah. If the foul was called because the defender got headed, because I did see that where he heads the ball away and a Seattle attacker comes in a little bit late and puts his head into the back of his head. I think that was an appropriate foul. I guess I'm confused because I don't think that was number 9 who did it.
No, it wasn't. I think that's the first thing, is that Jesus Ferreira was just as confused as the rest of us.
Yeah.
That the foul was called on him.
And that's where the confusion lies for me. When I saw the replay, I go, yeah, okay, I see why they're going to call this back, because you can very clearly see a Seattle attacker put a head into the back of the defender after he has headed the ball away. And I think that's a fair foul to call. Like, you can't be a half second late and put your head into a guy's head and cause him to fall down, ultimately being the player that holds on side the attacker. I could see that being, but again, I think for me, this is a problem with the referee decision is, well, you told me it was a player who, I don't know what foul they committed.
Yeah, and so let me. I want to go back and I'm going to shuttle through this one more time, because it was not Jesus Ferreira that was anywhere close. It was not Jesus.
And
Ferreira.
That's
the larger
the issue here.
Yeah, Jesus Ferreira was nowhere close, and so what you end up doing is you call a foul on someone who is not involved in the play, and yeah.
So that was, I think, the issue for me is I could totally see if you said, hey, there was a foul by so-and-so for this challenge, just get the number right. Because again, that's where now we're looking at it going, well, where's the foul on number 9? There is no number 9 anywhere close to this. That's a problem in the breakdown of the system. And so while, again, I'm looking at it and go, oh, yeah, that's a foul. The rest of the match, or the rest of the sequence, I go, I don't see anything here. And even the foul was just a kind of okay, you're a little late, you headed the dude, whatever. I think the problem I had was you called a foul on a player that didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit of a problem from the center referee, but also VAR, making sure we get our facts correct before making the announcement.
Yeah. Okay, so now Wiley brings in LAG. Shouldn't the second yellow have been a straight red for Dogso without attempting a play on the ball? And I'm guessing
I did not watch that game, so I don't know.
Okay, so I'm trying to go through the highlight package here quickly and see if it was the incident in the 62nd when you have a possible.
FotMob has it on the 64th minute, or 62nd minute penalty review, 64th minute red card. So
yeah,
I haven't watched it, Wiley. I'm just going off what FotMob has told me.
Here,
did you find it?
Yeah, I did. It is in the highlight package from the league, and it is late in the fourth minute.
I can watch that.
So yeah, late in the fourth minute, you're looking 4.5 minutes into the highlight package. So yeah, oh wow! And so the foul.
We're doing it live. Sorry, folks.
Doing it live. So Nico is fouled inside the 18, and the foul happens at 59:50. All right. So I saw Victor Rivas when he finally came.
All right. I'm looking at it. First off, New York City, great uniforms. Oh.
All right.
All right. So this is a good example of. First off, I don't think this is Dogso.
Okay.
For a number of reasons.
So,
but, great question.
So we're gonna walk through this. It's a lead pass inside the 18, basically at about 12 yards out, near side of the goal, halfway between the edge of the 6 and the 18 itself. Those of you not dialing up the highlights, we are.
I got it. This is a great question. Because I don't think this is Dogso. So there's your answer, Wiley. Because okay, again, we'll go through the 4 Ds of Dogso: distance, direction, distance, and defenders. So distance to goal, very close to goal. I agree. Direction,
I mean,
I don't know if you could call this going. Straight line. I don't know if this is totally direct to goal, but close enough to where we can say, he's heading toward goal, right? I think that's fair. Distance to the ball, I think he's very well within his right to say, I'm still in possession and have a playable chance on the ball. The problem here is defenders. So because the direction is not direct to goal, right? He is kind of going a little off. That allows you to say, well, there are 2 defenders standing right in front of the goal when the foul is basically occurring. You do have to put a little bit of soccer knowledge into this and go, okay, sure, maybe he could have himself taken the ball toward goal, but there were other defenders back. And the other thing here is if all 4 Ds criteria are met, which again, I don't think they are, but let's just assume they are. It is possibly considered a play on the ball, right? Inside the penalty area.
Right.
I'm not going to necessarily say that it was. I think it looked more like a grabbing, holding foul, but the defender is within his right to try to make a play on this ball, right? I think that's basically what we're saying is he's allowed to play soccer here. So for me, the reason this is not a yellow card for Dogso is because I don't think all 4 Dogso elements are met. However, I think you can very easily get off by not giving a straight red by saying, well, it's inside the penalty area. He's making a play on the ball-ish. So therefore, we're not going to give a straight red for Dogso. We'll give a yellow card because you're already giving a penalty kick.
Yeah. Okay. And this, by the way, ends up as the second yellow for Garces anyway.
Yeah.
And on the end zone shot, you do see Nico kind of go backward with his right arm to try to clear out Garces at the same time too.
Yep.
Slowing it down, nice. It's a nice lead pass inside the 18. Garces is trying to grab and come over the top with a bit of a swim move, takes Nico down in the backwash.
Yeah.
So
probably the foul that was up. Yeah, I mean, I think the foul ends up being, I mean, I don't know for sure, probably more on the tripping side of things.
Yeah.
Because he does make contact with the leg, but I don't think this is a red card foul in itself for a couple of reasons. The first being, I don't think all 4 Ds of DOGSO were met here. But most importantly, I think you could get away with saying this was a play on the ball. And in that case, if it happens inside the penalty area, we say, okay, well, you're giving a penalty kick. We don't like the double jeopardy situation. We're only giving a yellow card. Unfortunately, you've already got a yellow card, so you're still getting a red card.
Yes.
So great question. But I think ultimately there are a couple of things saying they give a straight red card here. Ultimately, he gets a red card just because it is a second yellow.
Yes. Would you? So I guess could you have gone foul, penalty, no yellow? Could you have done that too as an option?
No, not in this situation because this is still a reckless foul in my opinion.
Okay. All right. So reckless foul. There we go.
Like,
all right. Yanks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like this, if anything, this is still a reckless foul. Still, to me, this is still very much a yellow card foul in the penalty area.
Okay. All right. Yanks abroad. Getting into the busy.
I have one more referee comment, John. Sorry, one more referee comment.
Referee away.
I think our MLS referees in their new uniforms look so much more professional than whatever Premier League referees are wearing right now, and I just wanted to point that out.
Wow. Okay. This has nothing to do with anything on this show. From the AP. Well, no. When you see a headline like this from the AP. Lindsey Vonn says she nearly lost her left leg following the crash. Revealed in an Instagram post, injuries went far beyond the complex tibia fracture in the leg she initially hurt. Trauma from the crash led to compartment syndrome in the leg, and that involves excessive pressure building up inside a muscle, either from bleeding or swelling. High pressure restricts blood flow. And credited Tom Hackett, Dr. Hackett, orthopedic surgeon, works for Vonn and Team USA, conducting a fasciotomy to salvage her leg.
Wow.
Whoa, man! Yeah, that's some heavy ish right there. Okay.
That was a nasty fall. That was a nasty fall.
I thought, when it happened, I was thinking that it might have been like. Who was it? Like when Bo Jackson was tackled and he like completely and totally blew his hip out of his socket. That you had that kind of
for that.
Yeah, and so where you lose blood flow in the hip because of that, because it was complete. That's what I was thinking. Maybe that had happened up by the hip, but having 4 surgeries and now heading to a 5th for Lindsey Vonn. Wow, that just came across me. AP had nothing to do with anything, but it is Monday. React to that, people. Okay. Yanks abroad. Now,
decent week.
Yes.
Good midweek for at least one of our guys.
Yes. Pepe with an absolute bomb. So in England, Tyler Adams back into Bournemouth's starting lineup in the draw with West Ham. After starting in the FA Cup, Jedi Robinson not in the traveling squad for the win on Sunderland. Marco Silva says Jedi was dealing with an ankle injury during the week, didn't look serious, not in condition to travel. So Chris Richards, 90 minutes for Happy to Be Here FC and their win over Wolves. Tyler Adams, Brendan Aronson in their draw with Villa, and Jedi Robinson with Sunderland. So that's your Richards, Adams, Aronson, and Jedi from England.
Yeah. Jedi is a little bit concerning with as many injuries as he's kind of picking up, but I also feel like the fewer games he plays now, the more healthy he'll be for us come World Cup time.
There you go.
So maybe not the worst thing. And
put him in bubble wrap,
good to
keep
have
him on the shelf, man. Just keep him right here.
Exactly. Oh, he can't travel the rest of the year? Love it. Great. Good to see Tyler Adams back as well. I think that was something we do talk about on this most recent episode because some of the players we discuss are central defensive midfielders. There's about 3 of them right now, 3 or 4 of them that are definitely behind Adams. But if you don't have Tyler Adams, Do you need more than one? And so it is just nice to have him back.
Yes. Friends. God, I've got to find that drop. Folarin Balogun. Gale, he ends up with a goal in the 3-2 win for Monaco. And apparently it was a long day for both Tim Weah and Marseille, who now seems to be completely regressing back to the mean. And Tanner Tessman had 58 minutes in a 3-1 loss at Strasbourg. Mark McKenzie suspended. So Folarin Balogun, by the way, scoring one of 3 Monaco goals that now has turned the Ligue 1 race to the top all upside down and all cattywampus.
Well, we can't also forget the fact that last week he had a brace in the Champions League match against PSG. That definitely helped his team win that tie, right?
Yes.
Balogun, look, we need Folarin Balogun to be at his best. I don't think there's any hot take by any stretch to say he was the best player on the field for the U.S. men's national team in Copa America. Oh my gosh, 2 summers ago now. God,
24. Yeah, I know.
We're getting old, John.
Yep.
If he is at his best, I think this men's national team can actually make a run at the World Cup, because you got to have a guy who can score. And if he's bagging goals like he is right now, that's really helpful.
Yes, we like help. Germany, long day for a lot of folks. Noah Kai Banks, Christopher Lund, they were a 65 that apparently you couldn't dance to. Joe Scally and Malik Tillman, they really had bad days, according to Build. The Build reverses their numbers. Literally, they instead of going from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, they go 1 to 6, 6 being the lowest. And so I have to sit there and reverse my thinking as I'm doing this every week, where everybody's like 1 to 5, 5 being high, and no, Build 1 to 6, 6 being low. And you're like, what? Can you figure this out, please? No rankings, James Sands and Kevin Predis, who had cups of coffee. Leonard Maloney, Damian Downs, either on the bench or didn't dress. Cole Campbell injured, and Gio Reyna injured as well. So out of Germany. Italy. Christian Pulisic, I don't know if you've heard of this gentleman, but on occasion, he's okay. Starting lineup for Milan, first time in more than a month. Exited Parma still scoreless. Troilo had a header. Parma 1-0 win, 3rd victory in a row. Loss followed the 1-1 draw with Como in the midweek. Man, says Fabregas is going to get looked at for jobs next season. Weston McKennie, 1 point out of 15 in their last 5 matches for Juve. 2-0 home loss by Como. So Pulisic, once again, Gazzetta dello Sport, 1 to 10, 10 being high, not like Build where 6 is low. Pulisic, 62 minutes. Weston McKennie pulled a full 90. Wasn't impressive, according to Gazzetta dello Sport. Yunus Musa, Kremoski on the bench.
Sorry that Weston McKennie had a not as perfect game as he's had for the past month for his team. Maybe the rest of the team try to play better.
I mean, this is what I'm saying. You got to do that. Johnny starts for the 5th time for Atletico de Madrid in the last 6. In a 4-2 win over Espanyol. Obviously, they blocked out the Rayo Vallecano match. So he played 90. Then you've got Alex Freeman and Diego Koken, who are on the bench and dressing out, but they did not participate last time. Outside the Big 5, Pepe, 6-week layoff, broken arm, gets another goal, this time over Herenveen. 12 goals in 23 matches, all comps. And Ricardo Pepi had, literally it was a cup of coffee that he goes in, less than 15 gets the goal. Dest plays for a full 90 in the same match. And so you end up with that run there. MLS, Diego Luna was questionable, didn't dress for Vancouver. You end up with, we talked about Roldan, we talked about Celentano, we talked about Miles. Tristan Blackman played 90, Berhalter played 90, Matt Freese 90, Ream, Arfston, Schulte, Zawatsky, Chris Brady getting minutes for the Fire. Harriel, Matt Turner, Jack McGlynn, Timothy Tillman, Luca Del Torre, Diego Luna, go.
I think we are going to see, and we do talk about this on the episode that just dropped.
There you go.
The goalkeeping position for the national team is very much up for grabs. I think I would argue that even the starting job is still up for grabs. Mm-hmm. They're all playing in MLS. For the most part, I don't think there's a guy outside of MLS who's really got a shot at making it, unless your name is Diego Koken, which I'm still pro just bring him because why not?
But the man needs reps.
This is going to be interesting. I know, but just I look. If you're telling me that a kid who's a U20 prospect who's playing with Barcelona undoubtedly will be playing for a big club, maybe not Barcelona level, but a bigger club by next year, in my opinion, I think just bring him because sometimes you do have to look at the future. If that's your third goalkeeper, I'm kind of okay with it. But my point is, MLS is going to probably determine who our three, if not starting, our top two goalkeepers are. Matt Freese is still the favorite. Matt Turner is still getting reps. Looks like he's going to be very busy this year for New England. Maybe that's a good thing. Yeah, convert Hallebuck.
Yes.
But I do want to call out Roman Celentano because I do think he's a pretty good shot stopper. And again, what's the difference between Celentano, Schulte, Brady? What's the difference? I don't know. You know, this is going to be a very interesting MLS season for all of. If you're an American goalkeeper, just hope you have a great season in MLS because you might be finding yourself on a World Cup squad.
Because we always like to ask, what would Roman Celentano do? Just saying. Just a question.
Catch a ball that his defender passes back to him very clearly, and then get mad that
we haven't gotten into that back pass. We have to get into that before you get out of here.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Let's do it.
Yeah. So basically, back pass, indirect free
we
kick.
had two.
I mean, it's like literally a back pass, indirect free kick. Break that down for us.
So I'll give Celentano a little bit of credit in the fact that I think he truly thought that, I want to say it was Saba or Miggy, whoever's on that side. I think he thought that they touched the ball, deflected the ball before it got to him, right? His defender very obviously is making an attempt to pass the ball back to his goalkeeper. It was very obvious. Like this is not quite textbook, but it was a direct pass, which again must come from your foot to the goalkeeper. I think Celentano thought the attacker who was putting pressure on it got a nick on it, which would have negated it, but it didn't. This was very clearly a direct pass from the defender to the goalkeeper. It's absolutely a pass back. You got to call an indirect free kick inside the penalty area. Because we're Atlanta United, we don't make anything of it. But we did have an interesting situation earlier. I mean, like 3 minutes before that, where Atlanta United kind of maybe got away with the pass back. I think the referee and the way I would reason it away is it looked more like a defensive action than anything. And that probably is what the referee, I mean, he comes in to kind of clear the ball away from the defender or from an attacker. It does directly go from the defender's foot to the goalkeeper.
Okay.
But to me, that was that was a defensive action. It just very much looked like a pass, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. Also, before we get out of here,
I also agree, Wiley. Yeah, the restart, the spot of the restart was wild because they put that like almost way in the corner. I'm like, he caught this about 5 yards. Yeah, almost 10 yards up.
Literally, I don't
know why we had to keep putting it back.
Celentano was probably a good 6 feet away from where they positioned the ball closer to the inline. I'm like, what are you doing? But anyway, Sophia Cook signs a contract extension through the 28th season with Gotham FC. And so that is official now as well. So that has come out from Gotham this morning. So we're gonna keep an eye on everything going on.
Getting a lot of NWSL roster news in the next coming weeks as they get closer to actually playing soccer.
Yes,
so that'll be fun.
And we will be smashing all the previews there. Jen Hildreth is on retainer as we get closer to the season as well as everybody else. All right, so new Soccer for USPod episode is out. What else is going on? Anything?
Well, we do have a USWNT roster, which means we have games coming up soon.
Yes.
And we'll be talking about She Believes Cup after the She Believes Cup is done. She Believing.
Yes. And so we always believe in your she believing, especially when we all she believe. I think we've turned that
We
into a
all
verb
She
now.
Believes.
Yes. Be good, my friend. We will see you soon. Thanks for dropping by as always on a Monday.
Bye, y'all.
All right, there goes Bart, and Bart's and so it wasn't quite an Irish goodbye. Remember, tonight, soccer over there is at 8:00 tonight, and we'll go through anything and everything going on in the world that is going on. But there is one thing that happened this morning that we do need to get into, and Dick Advocat is now, he has resigned from his position as the Curacao head coach. And it was literally it is family issues, and he had taken time away from them to take care of his daughter who has health issues. And so immediate effect, he steps down. He has led them to the World Cup, but he will not be leading them in the World Cup. Once again, family situation, and looking at VI out of the Netherlands, in addition to a bunch of other places. There was a statement that the Curacao national team put out. Feels compelled to, and this is from Freek Janssen at VI out of the Netherlands. Fred Rutten is going to take over and leading Curacao this summer in the World Cup. Smallest country ever to a World Cup. And they will play in a group with Germany, Ecuador, and the Ivory Coast. And once again, unable to travel due to his daughter's health problems. Remember, he had missed qualifiers because he was back home with his daughter and the health issues. Advocat said, quote, "I've always said that family comes before football, so this is a natural decision. But that doesn't change the fact that I will miss Curacao, the people there, and my colleagues very much. I consider qualifying the smallest FIFA country in the world for the World Cup one of the highlights of my career. Proud of my players and staff and the board members who believed in us." Besides Advocat, assistant coach Cor Pot and Dr. Casper Van Eyck will also step down effective immediately. Pot was Advocat's right-hand man. Van Eyck will guide the Advocat family in the coming period. Rest of the staff remains intact. Press Secretary Kees Jansma, with his World Cup experience with the Dutch national team, and team manager Walter Janssen will remain active on the staff. Rutten, who will likely add an assistant coach, according to VI. First adventure as a national team manager, former coach of PSV, Feyenoord, FC Twente, and Schalke, among others, has been in close contact with Advocat in recent weeks. Rutten quoted as saying, "Dick is an icon in the football world." Morning, Abby. Thanks for dropping by. Truly an honor to continue his work. I've spoken with Dick and his staff and will continue in his line. Sad for Dick, but Curacao can expect the same commitment from me. Rutten will take charge of Curacao squad for the first time in March when they travel to Australia for a mini tournament with the host country and China. So that is the part of the early story there. The Curacao Association, Gilbert Martina, president of the CFA, spoke out. His decision can only be respected. Dick made history with the national football team. Curacao will always be grateful. Appointed in early 2024, qualified for their first Gold Cup and then the World Cup. First for the Gold Cup, then the World Cup. And we mentioned Fred Rutten. Martinez says, quote, "Given the circumstances, this is a quick and good solution. Dick has handed over the reins to Fred himself, who will be joining the staff shortly." And we mentioned those friendlies are going to be March 27 and March 31st. So that's the words on Dick Advocat. There have been no details on his daughter's health issues, but remember, he has spent time going back to spend time with his daughter. So obviously we are sending all the love that we can to everyone in Curacao and to Dick Advocat, and hoping that things can go as well as they can going forward. So so he wasn't present at the World Cup qualifying match against Jamaica. 19 games, 11 wins, 6 draws, 2 losses. Smallest nation to compete in the World Cup, about 160,000 inhabitants. So Dick Advocat gives way to Fred Rutten for Curacao and their run into the World Cup. So that's the news from there involving Dick Advocat. We'll circle back and go through all of the other activity. Tomorrow we'll go obviously more in depth on the weekend with Major League Soccer, but just for those that might have missed final scores and activity from the weekend, like I said, we'll get into it more in depth tomorrow because of KCD coming in at 10 o'clock. We'll get into more of it there. We do have to address the Lionel Messi situation and what happened after the match and the loss against LAFC. And it is currently being reviewed by Major League Soccer. For those of you that might have missed the video, Lionel Messi is seen going into a door at the mausoleum, allegedly going after the officials whom he was not too happy with. You see Luis Suarez trying to restrain him as they're going into this doorway. And literally the way that it looks inside the LA Memorial Coliseum, it looked like he was going into Delta Club. But then it was divulged later that there was no direct contact with officials. He would have had to have gone up a staircase and gone into the room or the suite or whatever, the area where the officials were. So he did not come close to that. Multiple sources have that as part of that sequence. And so obviously Major League Soccer can look at that and determine what they want. Matt Miazga, remember, actually stormed into the ref's room with pizza and got 3 matches. So you look at it and it might be a 1, but Luis Suarez restraining Lionel Messi is literally the image that sticks with me in all of this. So it's Suarez restraining Messi as Messi's trying to find the officials after his displeasure, after losing in front of 75,000 in the LA Coliseum on Saturday night. So I don't know if there were necessarily questions about officiating, David. I'll get into the numbers in a sec, and I'll say hi to everybody. But results from the weekend, we'll work backward, and then we'll come back to it. So obviously, Seattle over Colorado 2-0. Might be a long season for Colorado. They were beyond physical. And it was, I mean, there were times where, like I said, the Reggie, and as we were talking with Bart, there were times where it seemed like there were tackles that were worse than what we were discussing with Noah Cobb, and those only got yellows and not reds. I would have said the Reggie Cannon would have been, for me, a red more than anything else. Jared Smith joining us for the first time on a Reaction Monday. So, Jared Smith, what say you on a Reaction Monday as we are kind of blowing through the rest of the action from the league, but discussing Atlanta United and the 2-0 loss to FC Cincinnati? Good morning.
Good morning. So where are we at?
Wherever you want, because like I said, I was just starting to go through final scores and things like that. I was talking about the Messi incident at the mausoleum and literally was just stopping.
That's your stomping grounds, brother.
Yeah, I know. And the irony that Luis Suarez was the one that was restraining Messi from going up a staircase.
Yeah. It not related to Messi specifically, but I thought Pro had a weekend.
Yes, they did.
And not a great one. It's kind of like MLS is back, and then Pro is out there doing things like, oh yeah, Pro's back here
too.
Didn't ask for that.
Nope.
But yeah, like I don't know that there were many that were like blatant, you cost us the game kind of calls. It was just like game management stuff. I'm like, oh my God, we're not getting any better at this. The closest one might be the RSL Whitecaps, like cleats to the thigh, or not thigh, excuse me, cleats to the shin. Yeah, right before Vancouver scored what proved to be the difference-making goal in a 1-0 win. I want to say Sabi on a little high on one guy, and he got a yellow card for it. Ref blew the whistle, and as he blew the whistle, they kind of whistle because you're playing fast and you can't stop your body. I think the ref blew the whistle for that, and right after, on a bouncing ball, he just rakes an RSL player's leg. I believe he just rakes his leg with his spikes. You're like, oh, that's a red card. But I'm guessing I don't know why they didn't do anything more. It was not good. And then like probably 5 minutes later, he committed another pretty dumb foul. Excuse me. Like it wasn't it wasn't horrific. It wasn't like a orange card, but it was a borderline yellow. And it's like, son, are you just dumb? And then Jesper Sorensen takes him out immediately. Like at that stoppage, I think it was like, no, you come here. You're not playing anymore. Because he by all accounts probably should have been sent off at that point. Because even if you don't send him off for the raking of the spikes into the shin, he has to be on an orange card at that point, and it needs to be like hey, you can't do anything else for the rest of the day. And then he immediately is like, I'm going to get involved in a challenge. Like, don't do that. But like, it wasn't like anything blatant. It was just kind of like, oh, yeah, Pro's back here, and Pro still can't manage a game.
Yeah,
That's fun.
Welcome back.
Yeah, the Messi thing, man, it's interesting to me in that I know it's going to be a lot of discussion about, comparing and contrasting with the Miazga thing.
But
Tolman talked about it, that like he didn't actually go into the officials' locker room, which is what Miazga did. Miazga went into the actual locker room. Messi went into a glass door area where people were going and was pulled back before he got into the locker room. So there is nuance difference there.
Matt Miazga had pizza for the officials and for himself.
Messi didn't go through a door that said you cannot enter here if you're a player. Miazga did. It's kind of the difference there. You don't have to like it. I know that Cincinnati people are not going to take this in a calm, sane direction. And I part of me gets it, because you already are predisposed to think that there is a bias against everyone who's not Leo Messi. If anything, Messi should be mad about the fact that they got blanked by LAFC. Like, you want to be mad at the refs, fine, but like, go get mad at your own team for getting blanked by LAFC, because it was bad. So, as far as Atlanta goes, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Could generate enough on attack.
Yeah, and it is that adjustment period with Tata Martino. That first 25 minutes, you are doing what Tata wants you to do offensively and defensively. You're creating chances from the outside. You are you're responding to the issues of the day when it comes to Cincinnati. You've answered that bell, but it's not maintaining that kind of energy for a full 90 minutes, which it's a virtual impossibility over 34 matches. But nevertheless, it is. You did it for the first 25. There was another stretch in the first half, and then the second half was pretty much all FC Cincinnati in that. And so it's navigating what Tata wants you to do, replicating that 25 minutes, as we were saying in hour number one early, replicating that 25 over 45, 45 over 60, 60 over 75, 75 over 90. So there you see the building blocks there. You can blame Mother Nature for not giving you enough game state to work through this stuff. But practice and getting it all wrapped up is one thing, and understanding what he wants you to do is one thing. The energy that's attached is one thing. But regular season speed, games that matter, game state, that's an entirely different gear.
It was. And I thought they actually had solid energy for most of the game. They ran out of gas at the end, but they had pretty solid energy. They reacted to the physicality really well. I have seen now 3 or 4 different Atlanta United managers fall into the same trap, and it's really annoying. You can't get into a transition game with Cincinnati because that's how they thrive personally. You can't do that, and that's what you did. You got beat on transition. It's literally just like when you talk about what you cannot do against Cincinnati, that is thing one. And it was just bad. I think it's sometimes bad discipline from them and bad execution. And yeah, you cannot win games if you're not scoring goals. Saba had a half chance. Sorry, I dropped the mic. Saba had like a half chance early on, where he kind of makes something happen, forces Celentano into a save. But the thing you want to talk about working together and cohesion. Cincinnati at times looked better after Evander went out. You lost your best player. and they came together and they worked in a cohesive manner and were organized. And like at times were a bit less aggressive without Evander's wild creativity that we're used to seeing from him.
Yeah.
But that says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a veteran team that has been together for a while, and that's what you want to see is, oh, this guy went down. Well, we pick each other up.
Yeah. And it's somebody that we've seen with Dado Valenzuela. We've seen him grow from his time with FC Cincinnati too, and he's developing into. I mean, you lose Evander after 12. Dado Valenzuela comes in and sets the table for the remainder of the match from that position.
He does. The rest of it's just Miguel Almiron is not the same player he was in 2018. We knew that after last year. Emmanuel Latelot is not looking like the player you paid all that money for.
Mm-hmm.
We got senses of that last year. You didn't have Alexei Miranchuk for most of the game, still coming back from injury. I thought Cooper Sanchez tried stuff at 17 years old, and that's great. You need that sometimes. But, man, there's so much disconnect right now with, I think, what they want to do and what they're doing. And it's maddening to watch. And I don't know how I'll be interested to see how Tata Martino pieces it together, because individually you have technically talented players and guys who can make something happen on a whim.
Right.
I think that's what you try and catch with a Saba out there sometimes is if I catch Saba on a good day, he can give me a brace. If I catch Saba on a bad day, he might give me a shot or two and then he might vanish into the ether. And you got the latter of those Saturday. Just, I don't know how you turn this offense over.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, that's kind of where I'm at with
it. So you've got a quick turn because you're leaving this part of the planet Thursday to head out to San Jose and take on your Quakes, sir, who had your normal average everyday day, where if you had the goal scorers from San Jose on the bingo card, you probably did pretty well on the.
If you had the goal scorers for the San Jose on the bingo card, you need to seek help.
Yes.
Also, this is a team that went through what RSL went through going from 24 to 25.
Mm-hmm.
In that they lost a lot of goal scorers. Espinosa gone, Joseph gone, Arango gone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be tricky.
Yeah.
The game's always drunk, though. It'll be fun.
Yes, that is true. And so obviously we'll be walking through that all week long. And like I was saying to everybody in hour number one, we're going to be catching up with Ted Ramey, the voice of the Quakes, coming up later this week. And we will be locking everything down with him to discuss the Quakes side of things and see if he had the goal scorers that were attached. So there you go. So that's everything there in a nutshell. So are you going to make it in before 9 o'clock? You getting everything rocking and rolling out there in the Mountain Time Zone?
Yeah, we're good.
For SDH Mountain?
Yeah, we're good. I mean, we're just motoring on along in life here, so there's that.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
So are you in tonight for SOT?
It depends, honestly. I caught the crud coming back on a cross-country flight. So I have been laid up for the last day and a half.
Oof. That's just, I mean, reconstituted air is not my friend. Never has been.
So we'll see.
Okay. All right. Well, I know we'll be back at 8 o'clock. So go and continue your healing process, sir, and we will put a bow on this one, and hopefully we will see you tonight. And there he goes. He doesn't even say goodbye to me. First time back here in 2026, he doesn't even say goodbye. Of course, it wouldn't be Jared any other way. Okay. Where to watch, how to watch it, where to watch, what to watch, where to watch, how to watch it. Brought to us by our friends at Fanatis. FNTZ.co/soccer down here. That link is important. Helps them, helps us, helps you by adding more matches to everything you're already watching. With Fanatis, you get all the BNs. And with that, you get a lot of the activity in South America. You get Tigo Sports tapped in. You get CATV tapped in. You end up with all of the AFCON activity. You get the Polish League, the French League. You get Turkish League. You get that one as well. All at Fanatis and all the BNs. You get AFCON qualifying, AFC Champions League, all of that stuff over off all the BNs. You get Teisei, so you get Argentina. You end up with a lot of the matches in South America, Colombia, Paraguay, Liga 1 Max Pro out of Peru. And all that is there as well. CDO for the fans, TVV if you want to add Venezuelan television, and the winter leagues that are down there. You can do that. Once again, Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Turkish League, BNB in Espanol is at noon. Fenerbahce Kasımpaşa. FS2 has your U20 championships. It is a doubleheader on FS2 at 4 and 7. League we don't talk about is on at 2 o'clock. Everton and Manchester United, Monday Night Football. That is at 3. It is, let's see, La Liga is on ESPN Deportes at 3 o'clock. Fox Deportes has Serie A at 12:30, Fiorentina and Pisa. Universo is simulcasting the Premier League. ESPN Plus has Alaves and Girona at 3. Fox ONE has Serie A and the quadruple header of the U20s. Cayman Islands, Turks and Caicos, Grenada, St. Martin, Suriname, Belize, El Salvador, French Guiana, 1, 3, 6, and 9. Fox Soccer Plus has the same matches. Paramount Plus has doubleheader out of Serie A available for you. And then our friends at Walsall taking on the Carpetbaggers. That's at 3 o'clock. So if you want to get your Walsall fix and see a very familiar front of the kit sponsor, you can do that at 3 o'clock on Paramount Plus. So that is what we're staring at there. Once again, let me go through the activity. I don't know if, David, if Jared is doing Kevin Egan's marketing, that'd be great. We are going to try and effort Kevin coming on at some point to break everything down about his Irish exit. Yes. And so I'm trying to drop Irish exit as a hashtag into MLS 360 conversations. And so Kevin saw it and BWP saw it. We need to get it mentioned. We need to kind of get that mentioned after a bit. Your finals, once again, LAG and NYC, a 1-1 draw. Then on Saturday, Portland and Crew, 3-2. So if you had 4.5, you probably did pretty well. Portland was a plus 188. San Diego FC, we're going to get our Adrian Garcia Marquez mashup tomorrow. We're going to listen to a lot of goals. I scored 5 on CF Montreal. CF Montreal, they might be wooden spoon material. Quake shutting out Sporting at a minus 133. LAFC over Messi and Friends. Once again, that was 3-0. And we'll take a peek on all of that as well. I don't know if there was necessarily, as it was being asked by David about officiating, I don't know if there was any officiating issues, but there's also, you get as much video of no fouls called on the pink team from Fort Lauderdale, but you get it called on Messi and you get it called for Messi and Friends on just the slightest touch. So that video's out there just as much as everybody's talking about the other side of things. Austin and Minnesota United, 2-2 draw. FCD, like I said, we're going to catch up with Ryan Feigert, the play-by-play voice of FC Dallas, on Friday morning at 10:30. 3-2 win for them over Toronto FC. Dynamo over the Fire. Casey White's going to come in tomorrow to discuss that matchup. And Casey, on one of the calls, we're going to go through the goal. We'll go through the goal calls with her. One of the goal calls that she had with Christian Miles, she was prescient. She was like crystal ball material. Nashville put 4 on the Revs. The Revs looked pretty bad. DC over Philly. Philly looked out of sorts. DC United wins 1-0. Trying to track down Dave Johnson later on in the week, find out what life is like in DC. And Ty Barabo gets the goal for DC United. Red Bulls over Orlando City 2-1. Michael Bradley will play his kids that he had for Red Bulls 2 and not care. Once again, continuity of form. Plus 320. Red Bulls go down to the purple team to win. Purple team's got Messi and Friends next week. Whitecaps with the 1-0 win. Cincinnati the 2-0 win. And the season started with Jess and Ian Joy. St. Louis City with a 1-1 draw at a plus 260 in that matchup. Going up against Charlotte. Let me take the tour, and we'll go through all of the other news and notes and things that we need to know about as we're heading into the day. And let's see, trying to see what stories might be out there. And so far, I mean, it's a Monday. I mean, it is a Monday, and once again, remember that's when John makes sure that his mute button is blocking everything to where he can't do a thing, and he doesn't realize it. So let's get into gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and what to watch, where to watch, and how to. We've already gotten into what to watch, where to watch it, and how to watch it. And all right, so let's see if we can get into the rumor mill. There is some stupidity down here. We might get into that later tonight. But yeah, there was some stupidity down here overseas, and it's like, stop it, people. Not that that's really going to change anything, but there was a flat round of stupidity. Ben White's future at Arsenal uncertain. Club closely monitoring Sporting's Ivan Fresneda. Title rivals Manchester City also keen on Ben White. Sporting director Hugo Viana used to work at Sporting on Fresneda. Also keen on him, driven their interest. Newcastle also reported to be interested. Luka Modric could opt to join Dinamo Zagreb after representing Croatia at the World Cup, according to Gazzetta dello Sport. 40-year-old started his senior career there. Club president Zvonimir Boban was his idol. Other scenarios, Milan have an option to extend by a year. They want him to remain, but will only trigger if he wants them to. Possibility he could also retire. PSG monitoring Olympiacos midfielder Christos Moutsakidis, as reported by Nicola Shira. 19-year-old won the Golden Boy Award in 25. Topic of interest of several Premier League clubs, 30 matches, all comps this year, 3 assists. Spurs goalkeeper Guillermo Vicario, Juve's preferred option as the Serie A club looked to replace Michele Di Gregorio, as reported by Gazzetta dello Sport. Valued at 25 to 30 million euros, salary of 4.5, would fit within Juve's parameters. Strong competition from Inter, as they could need a replacement for Jan Sommer. If Juve can't sign Vicario, they could turn to Atalanta's Marco Carnesecchi. Tottenham scout was at Unipol Domus to watch Marco Palestra during Cagliari's goalless draw with Lazio. Once again, Nicola Shira. Wingback on loan at Cagliari from Atalanta, played the full 90, and various reports elsewhere have suggested the Palestra have received interest from other Serie A clubs. Villa interested and determined to keep Amadou Onana, despite Manchester United's renewed interest. Leverkusen, winger Ernest Poku, Napoli, and Juve are keeping an eye. João Neves has signed a 1-year contract extension, keeping the midfielder with PSG until 2030. Zeki Celik wants to leave Roma as a free agent in the summer, has been approached by 3 Serie A clubs, 3 Premier League clubs, 2 Bundesliga clubs, and 1 from the Turkish Super League. That's from Nicola Shira. Also, he reports meeting between Juve and Dusan Vlahovic's agent has been scheduled for March, as the club aims to renew the striker's contract due to expire in June. Newcastle will only consider offers for Nick Voltemade this summer if he demands a move. Leipzig blocked a January transfer for El Shaddai Abichiabu. The 20-year-old center back could force a summer move if his situation doesn't change. It's from Philippe Heinz. Mattia Perrin could leave Juve during the summer window, according to Nicola Shira. Lens midfielder Andrea Bulatovic set to agree to a new deal to stay with Ligue 1 until 2030. Fabrizio Romano. Atlanta United news. Keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on Matias Galarza-Fonda. That looks like, according to various sources, and that's all the heavyweights. It is Teise, it is Herman Garcia Grova, it is Cesar Luis Merlo. All 3. So you're getting all 3 looking at Matias Galarza. And Galarza, see, I go Galarza-Fonda, but I have seen the notations in a bunch of different places. So looking at Matias Galarza-Fonda, according to various dudes and sources, and that's the official term. It is various dudes and sources. So it has come across in a couple of different places. You're getting closer and closer to the possibility of a deal involving Matias Galarza-Fonda and Atlanta United. And so a couple of different places just to give you the rundown. The numbers look like they're meshing across the board. It looks like he's going to play for everyone in South America is saying that it looks like he's going to be playing for Atlanta United. River could be loaning him out with a mandatory purchase clause of $3 million US net for 50% of the pass, provided he plays in 50% of the matches. So 14 remaining, I believe, before the World Cup. So whatever the number of matches between now and then, $3 million net, 50% of the pass if he plays in 50% of the matches. And so Teise went into a bit of depth. And so 14 matches for Galarza-Fonda, no points scored. $3.5 million invested when they got him from Teixeiras. So basically it averaged out to $250,000 a match. But the $3 million, 50% of the pass, and then that obviously it's a loan with an obligation to buy. So $3 million and 50% of the pass, that would be the number for Galarza Fonda. Then you've ended up also with word coming on Cristaldo, and that could be happening. That is also being looked at as well. So you could have the possible pursuit of Gremio's Franco Cristaldo. That is also being looked at as well. Cesar Luis Merlo, they have Atlanta United seems to have made a formal offer for that for the 29-year-old Argentine midfielder. Looks like they might be negotiating with Gremio. Also, Toronto FC were interested, but considering they're dropping $27 million on Josh Sargent, their financing might be looking elsewhere. So, formal offer, Cesar Luis Merlo yesterday says that Cristaldo and Gremio and Atlanta United are all being paired. So, Toronto falls through. Formal offer to Gremio for Franco Cristaldo, and it looks like Matias Galarza Fonda would be coming for $3 million and 50% of the pass, loan deal, obligation to buy. So that's kind of where we are with all of that. Now, let me say hi to everybody, and then we can get everything all squared away. Soccer over there tonight, 8 o'clock. Now, saying hi to everybody, considering it's the first Reaction Monday of the year. Morning, David. Morning, Emilio. Morning, Wiley. Morning, Abby. Abby got her Girl Scout cookies. Morning, David. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I've missed anybody. So Wiley, morning, Alex. Let's see. Morning, Emilio. Morning to the Airborne DJ. Morning, Will B. In addition to Will Secor. So welcome back to the Airborne DJ. And I'm trying to see who else I might have missed here this morning in the Twitch pitch. And we always thank you guys for having conversations with all of you and with each other and with all of us. Morning, Ricky, as well. And let's see. So there's Will, there's Ricky, there's Abby. Like I said, I'm going all the way back to the beginning, and I'm glad that we've had the conversation dial up. Let's see. So there's Will, there's Emilio. Morning, Michael Head, by the way. Like I said, I'm trying to see if there's anybody that I might have missed along the way here. Morning, Lokeville. And so let's see. There's Emilio who's back in, and Michael Head and Ricky. And I'm trying to see if there's anything in the morning. And this is when I was stupid. Morning, Gabe. And morning, Alex. And morning, Ricky. Okay, so basically what happened was John's an idiot. That was it. So basically, John was an idiot for the first couple of minutes of the show, and his monologue was completely and totally muted. So there you go. All right, so that's all we know for today until tonight, and we probably will know more. And that's Soccer Over There tonight at 8 o'clock on the network, however you consume us. So once again, remember tomorrow, we are efforting other guests, but also remember Casey White's going to join us tomorrow to talk about Chicago, Houston, the week in Major League Soccer, all the things. That's going to be at 10 o'clock. We have guests that we're trying to plug and play in and around all of that as we go. Tomorrow, it's Northgate and Stars Mill, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock on the network. That is Tuesday. Friday, Maddie and I are going to be with West Forsyth and Lambert. That is going to lead us into Saturday. Maddie and I will be at Colony Square for the pre and post and listening and watching to all of the match action involving Atlanta United and San Jose as we get one more week closer to the home opener against RSL coming up in 2 weeks. First Reaction Monday in the books. Thanks to Maddie, thanks to Abe, thanks to Bart. That's going to be Mondays this season. And then if other things break, then we'll have another guests. But right now, batting 1, 2, and 3 on Mondays, Abe, Maddie, Bart, and you. You're always the cleanup hitter for us here on Mondays. So for everybody here at SDH, back at it again here 8 o'clock tonight. And we'll find out what else has gone on around this here planet of ours. Since it's the end of the show, that means I get to do this. Back at it again, a little under 9 hours. See you in a bit, everybody. Good to be back for Reaction Monday here on SDH AM.